Good day, paranormal community, and thank you for partaking in this amazing episode of the Odyssey Files. I'm your host, Michael O'Neill. With me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Mr. Anthony Hernandez. Good morning, Anthony.
Hello. Good morning. How
you
is
doing?
everyone doing? All right. It's Sunday.
Yes, it is. Your homework for next week is to unroboticize your how you doings.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Turn the Spock off.
Yes, turn the Spock off, please. Like Spock, you are definitely a science officer. Big into the research. Speaking of next week, very excited. I'm going to mention it at the beginning of the show and at the end of the show for anybody who comes in halfway through, maybe speeds forward some stuff. Who knows? But we got a very interesting guest next week. I'm looking forward to it. MD Seelig, I believe is how you pronounce the last name.
Yeah.
He is a author of the bestseller Hush, available on Amazon. If you guys want to check it out, but he is a former pilot, Navy combat
Marine.
pilot, Marine.
Yeah.
Even better.
Yeah.
But Marine combat pilot. But he has been involved in a lot of, shall we say, extraterrestrial activities, maybe. But he wrote Hush as a fictional book, but it's one of those where you can't talk about anything unless it's quote unquote fictional, even though it may or may not be. But he considers it a soft disclosure. So very interested in having him on and talking not only about the book, but the parts that are in it. So yeah, he will be here next week. Looking forward to that very much so.
Me too.
But well, good. I'm glad about that one. But so let's hop into the topic for today, because there's a lot of really interesting things. Unless you have something an update on something.
Only thing I got, and it really is kind of just a minor one, is the whole Jason Hawes ordeal. It went to court. Judge didn't kick out the conspiracy theory filing, which is a glimmer of hope. Doesn't sound real positive for him to get the house, even with that being said, so because they can still Estes can still wait it out, get the house, and basically, from what I've been able to find out at that point, Paz would be able to go after Estes for causing him damages to his brand and to himself. So
Defamation, yeah.
Yeah, so even if he does get the house, he could end up there are some estimates that Jason could go for $3 million for damages to him.
The thing about that is you would literally have to prove that he's the one that that did everything.
Well, that's the glimmer of hope, because most of the time when you make those accusations or bring those charges like that, the judges dismiss them pretty quickly if there's nothing to it. So the fact that he's didn't just outright kill it and move on says that maybe there's something there to it. So maybe there's some sort of proof that there's something shady going on in the background.
Oh, I have no doubt that there's something shady going on.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's just whether they can prove it or not.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be something where it's not going to be known until like the case is over.
It's all said and done. Yeah.
Until it's all said and done. And even then, it might not ever come out. Although chances are, if they're bankrolled by Rife, they will probably settle as opposed
I
to.
would I would think so. And then you got to question, is it worth it? Well, I guess any publicity to them is probably worth it. So I was going to say, is it worth all the hassle of that stuff? Because they could win the house and then lose big time on the backside of it.
Who knows? Um, or it could be they could make a deal. You drop your whole house thing, and I don't take you for all that you're worth, because and this is the evidence that I have, and you're going to lose. That's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's the only way that I see that whole thing playing out. But oh geez, I don't know. This is just becoming a complete, like,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry. The house ain't worth it.
No.
Like, all of this drama and ridiculousness and court cases and accusations and defamation and just why the Conjuring House is not worth that. I I
No.
don't think.
I think and I think he's stuck on the ride. So once you're on that roller coaster, you can't really get off till the ride's over. So I think he's got to let it play out.
Well, he does, yes. I mean, obviously, he's not in a position where he can just take all of this defamation and bullshit and stuff and just be like, and toss it aside. I mean, this is like the entire brand of everything. Um,
Yes.
so I mean, I get it, but jeez, I in general, like, just no location is worth this type of just garbage. And but I, as always, I'm
I,
fully in support of him getting it, and him winning.
I will say, if I think if they win, that you'll see more properties get snapped up that way as well, though. As soon as they can make it more of a hassle for anyone else to even remotely try to get them.
I'm not even going to go there. We're gonna get into our topic.
Okay.
We're gonna get into our topic. So last week, you and I talked about quote unquote
Equipment.
fringe
Yeah.
paranormal equipment, and stuff like that. And now this week is kind of a part two, staying on the fringe, but talking about experiments that have been done or are being done and can still be done to this day. Um, so the first thing that we are going to try to do, and this is something, again, that can be done really at any time as long as you know what you're doing. Um, and it's an experiment called the Phillip Experiment that was done in 1972, originally in 1972. Uh, and this is more yours than mine, so why don't you describe what it is?
So this was the Toronto Society for Parapsychological Research, and they decided that they were going to try to prove that ghosts were a creation of the mind. So they wanted to basically create a ghost and see if they couldn't get it to interact and react the way that a normal haunting would go, taps, EVPs, stuff like that. So they did Philip. They created a full backstory for him, wrote a bio for him, uh, gave him a wife, and fell in love with a girl who was accused of witchcraft, burned at the stake, and then he commits suicide. I mean, just like a totally happy life for this guy that they decide to create, because if it works, what could go wrong there, right? Um, so they do this over a series of sessions, and they start getting results. So they start getting the knocks and stuff back from that. Tables move. Uh, and basically Philip started taking on a life of his own, and they started getting sounds. I don't think they got EVPs from him. I think later they did a couple of other creations that did produce EVPs, but he was, I think, Knox and stuff moving around and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
they. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were done.
no, go ahead.
Well,
No,
you
I was just
paused.
gonna say, well, because I was thinking whether or not to continue with that, but I was gonna say they did it trying to disprove something, but I think they proved something else in instead, because I don't think they did enough research into tulpas and to the whole thought form process and what that entails. And that essentially is what they were doing, was creating a thought form by giving it all that energy, all that power, all that focus. And I think that's what they ended up creating with those things.
Well, I mean, not only that, but this is a much more complex version of the poltergeist. I mean, which is
Yes.
a psychic kinetic being created by the human mind and the energy and the intent and everything else. But I mean, like this is like a crazy backstory. Like it's one of those things like you can't, if you didn't know that you did make it up, you'd be like, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, in 1624, so I mean obviously way back, uh
Yes.
early military career, knighted by the age of 16. I can't imagine anybody being knighted, maybe in Camelot that might have
Yeah,
happened.
was gonna say it would
uh
have to be something grand.
yeah, was a spy for Charles II, and then yeah, uh fell in love with Romani girl who was accused of witchcraft and burned at the stake. Like, and then all of this, committed suicide in 1654 at the age of 30. Like all of this that they wrote, and it was up to 30 years old. Like this guy makes me feel uncomfortable because he's done more in his life by the age of 30 where he ended it than I have so far in all of my years, which is terrible. Um, but yeah, but you're right. Like this is pretty much Topa. Uh, and was telling you, obviously, I was telling you the story, um, off before the show. Uh, but anybody who has seen Kindred Spirits, um, and if you haven't, good for you. But if you have, like they tried that. I don't think they called it the Phillip Experiment. I think they were acting as if like it was all their own idea, like this has never been done before. I think I can't remember. It was quite a long time ago, but they decided that they were going to do this. That they created a backstory for, I believe, the spirit's name was Edward, and they were going to see if Chip, because this was like right during or just after COVID, so Chip was still in Georgia, and they were on the upper East Coast, doing something, I believe. Uh, but they wanted to see if they gave it this backstory. They told it like out loud in the location of this, if Chip could get readings off their fake ghost, and he did. You take it obviously with a grain of salt. It's TV, uh, but they did a session, an EVP session, asking Edward questions. And I believe one of the questions that they asked was, "Can you tell me what your name is?" And they got an EVP that said Edward.
Wow.
And
Okay.
and as I'm watching this though, I'm like, but you said the story out loud. You came up with this inside that location. I'm like, so who's to say like it's not another spirit messing with them? They're like, they think they're gonna do it with Edward. I'll say Edward, and mess with them or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if they got anything besides that. I can't remember going back. Uh,
So so the same group, the same Toronto group also did two other experiments with the same thing. So with Philip, he was 17th century. Lilith, they created she was a Canadian spy during World War II who got captured and executed by firing squad. But with her, they actually did get EVPs back from that. And there was a I don't have a lot of details on the last one that they did, but they did a time traveling spirit named Axel, which I can only imagine what that did. Yeah, I was that was their third experiment, but they got the poltergeist knocks and stuff like that from all three. Uh, I know Lilith, they say EVPs, but they don't really say anything about Axel. And every time I hear that, I just keep thinking Axel Foley, but you know,
yeah, I mean, and I guess this also goes to, kind of like with the poltergeist activity. It takes a while to manifest. Like
yes.
you, it's not a 24-hour process. Um,
So, and the things that I read about tulpas and stuff like that. So there are magic groups, covens, stuff like that who create these things for to do whatever for themselves. And I know it's a process of time and energy into it. So it's not like you just do it once and you're done. It's like you got to keep putting it there and building it until it's constructed. And then I believe you have to ever so often you have to keep renewing that energy or renewing that line of thought towards it so it doesn't diminish.
yeah, and that's honestly a poltergeist. I mean, that's what, no matter whether you're Amy Allen or whether you're Odyssey Paranormal Society, you're dealing with a poltergeist. The number one, really the only way to get rid of it is to stop feeding it.
Yes.
So you tell these homeowners, or like, do yoga, go to therapy, talk to somebody, get out the stress and stuff that is continually feeding it, and it will lose its power and go away. And it kind of seems like it's the reverse here, because the first time that they did anything with Philip, they got nothing. No contact, no communication, no bumps, no nothing. And then as they continued to do it, then all of a sudden the table was tipping and they were getting the knocks. And if they did with Lilith, EVP sessions,
Yes.
but even that takes a level of complexity with even with the
I would
poltergeist to get to that level.
I don't see the details for it, but I would be curious to see the number of sessions that it took them to do before they actually produced results. Because I'm thinking three or more before they started getting anything, or if it was longer than that, then that's some dedication to it.
I do. I really like this experiment. In fact, that they can recreate this. The only thing is that I really hope that, and it doesn't seem like that was the actual goal, was to like completely dismiss the supernatural field as a whole. Like every ghost that you encounter is just a thought form. Like I can't get behind, if that was their goal. I can't get behind it at all, because I know better. But if it was just to see that this is possible, 100% agree. I mean, what was your take on their final goal?
I I think initially they probably started out with trying to debunk something, and then I think it turned into more than that, because if it was just a simple debunking, why would they do two, experiment three, and who knows if they did more than that? But they recorded audio, so if they're trying to debunk it, why would they be recording and doing all these other things? It kind of doesn't disprove the initial notion for the experiment.
Well, I mean, keep in mind now the whole point of science. The reason that this all these things
Repeatability.
are is repeatability, and it looks like they got it, because they got Lilith, and then my
Axel.
well, you have Axel, but my research also includes a Humphrey. I don't have
Okay.
any I don't
And
have
like I
any
said,
details of what Humphrey was, but it says, yet similar results under the similar circumstances, but were deemed inconclusive. So it's almost like they're not going to allow it anyways.
No, because I mean it I don't know. It just I don't think they I think it switched from them trying to disprove something to trying to prove a different theory and
Mhm.
not looking, like I said, deep enough into it to realize that what they were actually doing was creating a poltergeist or a tulpa, or it just wasn't not a ghost. I mean, I don't think it was ever really a ghost to begin with. It was the thought that got turned into something substantial.
You know, and here's what I didn't get, uh, or I should say get, but I didn't know about is that apparently these experiments uh, inspired horror movies.
Oh,
And recently,
that's not a shocker.
the apparition, which I have never heard of, which is surprising to me, uh, that was 2012, and then the quiet ones, never heard of that either, and that was 2014. So these must have been like straight to videos or something. Uh, but you know, the thing that happens obviously is when they want people to not like do this experiment is to make horror movies about it because now everybody's afraid of it. Either that or
I
teenagers are now going to try it.
I was gonna say I don't think that's true because you have the whole I don't know, they probably up to like Witchboard 25 or something like that with those stories like that about Ouija boards and stuff.
Just yeah, just no. But yeah, the and how many paranormal activity movies are there now?
Oh, I don't know. I've lost count of
Like
those things. The
like 10.
That's to me that's kind of like the Blair Witch. The first one was kind of a cool idea and a cool thing. Just and I thought it was cool because a lot of people thought it was real at first. So I was like, it's totally fake, but okay. So I thought it was cool to see people freak out over it. But the first one was cool. The second one, and I don't know how many more they made, but yeah, no.
Yeah. I watched 1 and 2 and then never watched another one. 'Cause they're they're pretty much all the same.
Yes.
But I mean, this is an interesting experiment, but I don't know. I'm never ever going to get behind like everything that we encounter is some sort of topa. Some sort of human created uh spirit. I mean, and it's if that's what they were doing, I mean, it's almost right along what the flippin' Catholic Church was trying to do, or maybe not the Catholics, but like the Protestants or whatever, because their whole thing is there's no such thing as ghosts as well. Everything is a demon.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to fool you. So I mean, I for something being so pseudoscience, like there seems to be a huge amount of effort to try and get people to believe that it's not there, period, and it's something else.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what I'm not really sure what motivates some of the debunkers and stuff like that out there because some of them are pretty hardcore with trying to disprove everything. And I mean that's from paranormal to UFOs that and big even the cryptids and stuff like that. They will go to extreme lengths to try to explain away something that is like not really buying this, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I like I said, I like this experiment though. I think it's very very interesting. Um, I don't know if I would ever do it myself. Like if I would ever try it, I just don't feel any sort of need to do so. Um, but it's interesting that it's out there. Um, Speaking of interesting, uh, our next one, which is again, it has been. I didn't even know about this experiment until saw it on Paranormal State. They're the only show that I've seen that has ever attempted the Ganzfeld experiment. I keep calling it wanting to call it Ganzfeld, even spelled it that way with an O. I was incorrect. The Ganzfeld experiment, um, which is the German words for entire and field. So, uh, but it was on, I think, at least 3 episodes of Paranormal State. I think they had Ryan Buell do it twice and Chip Coffey do it once. Um, but basically, it's a parapsychology test for ESP. To test somebody's telepathy, and you have to sit in a comfortable chair. Uh, you have to have headphones on that play white noise. You have to have ping pong, like half ping pong ball goggles or whatever over your eyes, and be under a red light. And the goal of it is to uh obviously uh the sensory deprivation. Thank you. Jeez. I had to read
Yes.
it there for a moment. Sensory deprivation. Take out your ears with the white noise. Put on the ping pong ball. Here's I'm just going to stop right here and ask if maybe you know this answer because I can't find it anywhere. Why a red light? Why ping pong balls?
I think it's just to cut it. They could have gone with just the eye shade, the sleep mask things. I just think that they were going for I don't know, maybe the ping pong ball to let the red light shine more in your eyes or something like that. The red
Well,
light is supposed to play with, I don't know, I guess you're when you're seeing that red light when you're out, it's supposed to put you faster into that hypnagogic state, which is generally takes about 15 minutes or so to kick in, and that's when your brain starts trying to put things in because it's not getting any sort of input itself.
so it's almost like it's trying to create the closest place to darkness without actually going dark.
Yes.
I see.
And I think red doesn't ruin your night vision, which is why a lot of the hunting flashlights and searching stuff like that, they're in red instead of the other colors.
Yeah.
So it doesn't kill your night vision.
Well, not only that, but from what I've read about just outdoorsy type thing, the red spectrum is like the lowest that you can go. Um, and so, like I read that if you're going to go out and search for night crawlers, for fishing and stuff like that, that you use a red light because it takes them the longest to sense that the light is on them, so they don't, obviously, fling back into the ground. So it makes it easier, obviously, to catch them. But I've always wondered, and I think you kind of said probably what it is. The ping pong balls is they don't allow you to see, but they also allow like light in.
Yes.
Um,
So that I think that's stimulating your brain to where it's trying to fill those gaps in. It knows something's coming in but doesn't know what, so it starts trying to fill the picture.
why do you think? Because so many of what we do in the paranormal revolves around white noise. You know, why do you? And this goes beyond obviously the Ganzfeld experiment, but I mean, why is white noise so important?
I think because it's like a neutral. So you're basically eliminating the words and stuff like that or music and stuff like that, and it's giving you that neutral kind of field that again, I think you start hearing that noise and your brain is trying to figure out what it is and starts trying to put input to what it is. So it starts creating or lets you start listening to what's out there. I know you can definitely get hallucinations off stuff like that. So
So almost like it's the yarn to make a the tapestry, so to speak. I mean, like it's a lot. It's giving your brain the necessary fibers to start spinning stuff and to get your
yeah,
mind in that sort of state.
I think it takes your mind off of I think it keeps you from thinking about everyday things like need to go to the store, need to get this, need to get that. So I think it helps you put you in that hypnotic state to where the white noise is kind of the buffer for it to get you out of what your normal thinking pattern is to where you're more open to what could be there.
So um, the reason for the Ganzfeld uh, experiment was, somebody sits in this chair, they get all put up, and they have to do it in half-hour segments. Is the what the experiment was. You can do it in any, I think probably in any sort of, half hour, hour and a half, whatever you want to do. But you have to be in an isolated room, and then in another room, so they call it the receiver and the sender. The receiver is the one that's all dot up in the chair. The sender picks and focuses on a specific object. If we were doing it uh, like in an investigation, and I will be doing this coming up in an investigation, but you pick, let's just say you focus on a K2 meter, and you do that for the entire half hour, and then the person in the chair has to talk out loud about the things that they are seeing or experiencing and stuff like that. And at the end of the half hour, they bring this person in, and then there's four objects, one of which is the thing that was thought of, focused on. So, it'd be spirit box, meter, the K2 meter, which they were focusing on, and then the FLIR. Four different objects, 25% chance of guessing correctly. And then the person who is the sender has to guess based on their hallucinations, based on their visions they were seeing, what the actual object is. That's the Ganzfeld experiment.
Kind of
I
close
think what
to remote viewing too. So
it it's used for remote viewing. Is that what we said?
I said it's kind of close to the
Oh,
premise for
yes.
remote viewing.
Close, except I don't think you're supposed to like be like, well, you were talking to, or you were sitting in a chair with your legs crossed, or whatever. Like you're not supposed to like
No, because you're actually supposed to
detail.
draw stuff.
uh, Well, yeah, for remote viewing, you are, yeah, kind of hard when you got ping pong balls
Those on your eyes. Yeah.
on
That
your
and
eyes.
just remember when you do that, that for 15 minutes, you're supposed to wait 15 minutes for it to fully kick in when you
Well, that
do that.
sucks because I only wanted to do it for 15 minutes. I mean, I'm in an
Yeah,
investigation.
you got to give it at least 50. You got to set them set for 15 minutes to get everything, get themselves in the right mindset and everything.
Well, I'm an overachiever, so it'll only take 5 minutes for me. um, but I definitely want to try this because the thing about it is, and I don't really want to try it so I can guess whether somebody's made a K2 or not. But I mean, as you're reaching out and as you're trying to feel the energies and you're trying to see what is going on, like you do still get, uh, if what you see in paranormal state is to be believed, like you can feel presences and you can feel energies next to you and stuff like that. So I mean, if you focus on, you know, obviously the white noise and the red lights and stuff like that, but I mean, I think it could be used for as it says, like telepathy, ESP. Like I think you could probably get visions not so much of a K2 meter, but of a spirit that is in that location.
Well, definitely. I think it would work that way because you're not focused on your everyday normal stuff. You're not focused on social media. You're not focused on all the things, the mundane things that you normally think about. You're kind of setting yourself to zero to be able to interact or to sense those other things.
Exactly. It's going to be interesting. I was talking with Derek, uh, one of my investigators, and I was so stupid to think that he wouldn't know what the Ganzfeld experiment was. Yeah, he does. But but I was telling him that in this upcoming investigation that we're doing, I want to do this, and uh, he said, I know there's a team from Florida that combined this and called it the Del Coro method. No idea what that is. But he says, I've got some friends who've done this with mixed results. And that's kind of what it says here is that it says consistent independent replication of the Ganzfeld experiments has not been achieved. And in spite of strenuous arguments by parapsychologists to the contrary, there is no obviously validated evidence accepted by the wider scientific community for the existence of any parapsychological phenomenon. And I think that that's got to do a lot with how open you are. I mean,
Oh, I
if you ask
definitely.
if you ask Cena, we all have psychic abilities, and I agree that it just depends on what level. So, I mean, if you take somebody like me who thinks that it's sensitive as a brick, and you try to do it, I'm probably not going to have as good of uh, as good of a session as, let's say, Scott would, one of my other investigators, who's got intuitive abilities, who's far more open and used to that sort of stuff than I am. So, I mean, if it wouldn't take so much damn time, I would probably like do like two different people. Like I would do me, and then I would do Scott, or do me, or I would do Cassie. I wouldn't do Cena because why? Like that's just overkill. Um,
So I had someone explain it to me. Probably the all right. What I think is the best because I was asking questions about remote viewing stuff and how it worked and everything, and because that's another one that everybody can do. Supposedly, I I don't know if I could or not, but I haven't tried. But they said that you think about it like football or basketball. Everybody can play football. Everybody can play basketball. Now, just because everyone can play it doesn't mean that you're going to be Michael Jordan or Tom Brady.
very
And a lot of the other, even ones below them, it takes a lot of practice and a lot of discipline to get to where they are. So, are you willing to put in the effort to it? I mean, that's basically what was told to me for the remote viewing stuff.
based on my training to develop my gifts. I'm going to say no. I'm not willing to put in the effort. but but yeah, I mean, and I think it's practice, it's getting into the habit of it. I bet you could. Um, but yeah, it probably would take a lot of time, a lot of effort. I can't imagine that it's so much different than astral projection, minus the fact that obviously you're conscious and doing it on purpose. I can't do it. I'll astral project every once in a while, and believe me, it ain't on purpose. And I'm sound asleep. So uh so there's that. So yeah, I'll once I get to do this, hoping to do it at our investigation in March. But we'll see if what the results are.
Just be sure to
We'll
give one of them at least the 30-minute mark. At least let one of them sit there for the 15 minutes to acclimate.
whatever. Depends on how much time we get in this place. um, if we get like 5 hours, sure. I can do 2 half-hour sessions. That's not a big deal. with 1 half hour session, one for each person to see what
Well,
it's like.
that's when you use your managerial skills. You get someone to set it up for the first 15 minutes while you're doing something else, and then you come back at the 15-minute mark so you can just go.
Yeah, because that'll work. But all right, guys, we've had it set up for 15 minutes. Let's get me in there. We're ready to go. All right. So I do not know a lot about this next one because you didn't tell me what it was until like literally a half hour before the show.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yes, we're moving on. But you do, so I'm gonna turn over these dark retreats, which I had never heard of before, and you can just explain what you're talking about before I start complaining about them.
Okay, so it's a thing that is becoming more popular, which I don't know that I would have the probably the patience for it, because you are required to typically they're anywhere from 3 to 5 days, and you're in a dark room. It stays dark. You do not see light. You do not turn on flashlights. I haven't even seen it mention anything about you can use a red light to do whatever. Uh, but it is trying to basically get your body to produce the natural uh, DMT that's in your body to release by tricking your body into thinking that you're not seeing the sun anymore, or you're in a state where essentially they think that the body produces it at times of near death or other high trauma type issues like that, which is where you start getting the visions and the spiritualities and the altered states and stuff like that. So they're saying that by staying in a dark room for that amount of time, your body will be tricked into producing your natural DMT that is inside your body. It uh it's interesting. In ancient Egypt times, they used to do it in the pyramids and stuff like that, or at least that is what is thought that they did in some of the pyramids. And now, since the 2018, I guess, is when they started calling them dark retreats, and basically they get you to, like I said, stay in that room for 3 to 5 days, totally dark. I probably would give it a try in your own house or something like that before you spend that much money to go to one of these things and be in the dark for 3 to 5 days, because some of them can get quite pricey. Not sure what makes them worth that extra amount since you're in the dark. I can't imagine that there's a bunch of frills that get added to this thing since it's supposed to be a totally dark experience.
which which is so uh like I get maybe a day, something like that. I mean, even when you go into like a sensory deprivation tank, like they don't recommend that you
Days.
stay in there for 3 to 5 days. And who would pay that? Like, I it's got to hear, and obviously the prices will differ depending on the
Yes.
location. But I mean, like the Sky Cave retreats in Oregon, $265 a night. So 3 to 5 days, you're talking $675 to probably 1,000 to
And
sit in the dark.
if you go to the really premier ones, that's 14 days in the dark. So you just took 2 weeks off and you're going to sit in the dark for 2 weeks and not talk to anybody.
Not talk to anybody. I mean, obviously do they get do they give you a radio so you can listen to
I
something?
wouldn't.
I mean,
Maybe I was going to say maybe the radio stuff. You're not getting your phone. You're not going to text. You're not going to. I mean, all those things. I can't. I'm honestly surprised that these are a thing, because I can't see most people giving up their phone for that much time and not texting or talking to somebody. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
like
Like I
this
said,
is the this is the premise to a movie where somebody goes
Yeah.
into this deep dark cave, comes out 14 days later, and it's the zombie apocalypse, and they have no idea what's
Yes.
going on. I mean, but again, and I was asking you this question before the show: how do you eat if you're in complete darkness? You can't get any light. Period.
It-
There's no light.
It's
There's
all
no
finger
phone.
food.
There's no flashlight. Well, that's what I was
Chicken
saying.
nuggets, hot dogs.
Do they give you a bag of Doritos and say good luck to you? Like you can't knife and fork it because you'll cut your damn hand off. I
Like,
mean,
no, no, this
plus
is all 5-star food. You just can't see it. Enjoy.
if you can find it, you can eat it. Like that. Like, and I'm paying for this. Like
Yes.
I don't get how these work. I get the premise behind them. You know,
I
from
I understand the theory. I find it hard to wrap my mind around that there's enough people out here for this to be a thing, that they're having these spa type things where you just go sit in the dark for, yeah, and the fact that it's for 2 weeks, because I'm not thinking, if I was taking 2 weeks off, it wouldn't be to go sit in a dark room by myself.
exactly. I mean, you can't read because you can't see the
No.
book. I mean, maybe an audio book if they
Yeah.
allow audio stimulation, but I I don't get it. Yeah, the physical
I,
effects. The prolonged darkness promotes the production of melatonin, which can help regulate hormones and potentially improve sleep pattern. I don't need to go sit in a dark room for fucking 3 to 5 days. Pardon my f bomb there. Uh, to to get some good sleep. I,
no. And I will
I
say, like, I know that the Egyptian ones, because I know that some of those places will talk about how the Egyptians did that in their time and stuff like that. But I know the Egyptians were taking water lily and stuff like that, which is known to have properties for vivid dreams and lucid dreaming and stuff like that. So you're kind of altering yourself with those things to begin with, if, in the Egyptian times at least.
yeah. So I didn't bring up the website, but it gives you a snippet of what's been read. It says the Dark Retreat is an unparalleled experience in intense seclusion in which the practitioner is deprived of all light and sensory distractions. So I would think that would cut out the radio too, because that's an audio distraction. So
From
you
what I
sit
from
there in the dark and in quiet for days on end.
Yep. And I would have to think that, yeah, your brain probably trips out after a while. After, I don't know, after a day or two at least of being like that. They say it takes like 3 typically for it to start taking effect. But
Well,
yeah,
at $265 a night, hell, it's going to take at least 5 days for shit to kick in.
but like I said,
I don't
I can't I can get into the whole meditation retreats and stuff like that, because at least, there's activities and you're talking with people and stuff, but just doing that in a dark room where you have no interaction seems a bit much for me.
I could even see it if you put in like solitude cabins or something like that in a place where there's no signal. You're not allowed cell phones or anything like that, and you're not even allowed to mingle. It's you in this. Oh, did I disappear there for a second?
You kind of stuttered. I didn't hear what you were saying.
Oh yeah, sorry. Wi-Fi was jiggering around. Hold on a second here. I'm gonna turn that off. Yeah. Sorry. Um, but and it's just you in solitude, and you're able to read, and you're able, but you don't get around people. You don't have signal. There's no radios. It's you in quiet, and but you're able to see, and you're able to look out the window or sit, stuff like I can get behind that. Like that, I think people would be interested in, to get away from society for a while, especially if you have like a very high intensity and stressful job, like a lawyer or something along those lines. But sitting in the dark doing nothing for days is
Yeah,
ridiculous to me, especially when I
to me
paid
when I
for it.
hear to me, when I hear about these things, I always like, I always picture the commercials, be like, have you ever wondered what it was like to be kidnapped or held hostage? Come try us. We'll
Well, we'll even come and take you to
yeah,
make it
we'll
more real.
have a convenient van come pick you up. Start your dark journey right there.
And just for the hell of it, we'll have a slot in the door that will move aside and look in for like to see if you're still alive, and then we'll slam it shut. It's all the lights you get. Like I even though these aren't necessarily experiments, like these are vacation spots. Apparently, uh,
Yeah,
it's
nothing says vacation like a darkness for 2 weeks, even 5 days. I no.
enhance inner awareness. So often spend 3 to 4 days in specifically designed light-free spaces to reduce stress, improve sleep, and enhance inner awareness. I don't need 3 to 4 days to be aware of who I am. Just saying.
And
I
I might be wrong, but I could have sworn that the I forget what towns they are up in Alaska that have the 24-hour darkness, but they say that anxiety and stuff goes through the roof when they have those days like that without the sun and stuff like that. So I don't know.
like this seems something like it would be more of a CIA experiment to test uh to what the hell word I'm looking for when they
I'm
interview them, torture. There we go.
yeah, it's
It,
yeah, because to me this just
interrogation
sounds like
tactics. There
torture.
we go. Yeah, interrogation tactics is the word I'm looking for. Uh, that's what this seems like. Like it's
Yeah.
having people pay to help the CIA, you know, narrow it down on how best to do it. How long does a person need to stay in the dark before they lose their damn mind? You know, that sort
Yeah,
of thing.
this sounds like the light version of those extreme uh they're not haunted houses. It's like they're like fear type things where they put you in the ground and stuff like that and freak you out
Mhm.
and
Fear factor? Yeah,
like
no,
well,
pass.
it's this stuff is I don't know. To me, if you ask me, that stuff's torture. But I couldn't see doing that stuff either. I don't know how they get people to pay for that stuff.
No, I think I froze.
Yeah, you froze.
Oh yeah, I'm
Okay, now you're
back.
moving.
Yeah, because I even lost audio there for a second. So I was like, I hope he's still talking.
Like I said, I think the principle is okay. That it's an interesting experiment, but I don't know. I way too long, at least for me. I don't think I could. I have not found inner peace for that kind of inner peace for myself, where I can just have no input for that long.
I wouldn't last 8 hours. And that's if I fell asleep. Otherwise I don't think I'd last two. I I just like I am so bored. I can't stand it.
I can't
Like
take this no more.
like I'm sorry to this is a family show, but uh they would have to squeegee the place down after my stay because that the only thing that I would be able to do, I would have to do it to myself. just I'm just saying, there. Don't take a black light to my suite after we're done. You left me no choice.
Yeah, yeah, I could not. The dark room thing is not definitely not for me.
Yeah, me neither. Not at all. I would be more stressed out being in there than I would ever not.
Yeah, it would definitely it would definitely be a lot. Like I said, that to me that's torture. I just can't. I can't imagine it for any length of time.
Okay, our final one. Um, This isn't really an experiment, but neither was really Dark Retreats. It's got an interesting premise, and I've tried it. This before, the Estes method. That's probably obviously the newest thing that's come out to try and prove spirit communication using the spirit box. And again, I get it. I get the premise behind it. You person sits in a chair, puts on the headphones, which is connected to the spirit box. So that's all they hear is the spirit box. They put a blindfold on so you can see. Um, how bad am I freezing right now?
Not terrible.
Not terrible.
You
Okay.
were you
Just
were for
one.
a while. You were for a while, but it's gotten better.
Well, thank you for stopping me. Um, anyway, Estes method. So blindfold on, night mask, whatever you need to cover your eyes, headphones on your ears, connected to the spirit box, and then you have one or two other people around asking questions in an area where that the person with the spirit box cannot hear them or see what questions they're asking, or that they're even asking questions. And then the person with the spirit box headphones on gives says whatever they hear, and supposedly the answers uh, match the questions if you're getting actual responses. Like I said, I've
And
tried it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's supposed to be to eliminate the pareidolia stuff, which I don't. I guess I can kind of see how that is, but there's still one person hearing the spirit box.
Well, right, and it's pretty much if they can't see or hear any of the questions, or I should say,
They're
hear
like,
the questions or see the question is being asked, they're just throwing out answers. They have no idea. So if they hear a yes, then they say yes, and it might be to a question. If they say, "What's your name?" and they all of a sudden they hear, Rebecca or whatever it is, then they say that out loud, and then there's the answer to the question. Uh, both my investigator Sam and I tried it at a place. Nothing. We got nothing. Anything that we did hear that came out from it did match any questions that we were asking. Um,
hmm,
so so far it's been a complete failure for me. However, if you ask anybody who does it on a regular basis, they will tell you full out. You need to really be have listened to a lot of Spirit Box. Like you can't
oh,
just
it's
like your first investigation out. You can't just put on the headphones, turn on the Spirit Box. I think you're gonna be able to pick up anything. And I think that's a which is probably why because again I really hate to bring this show up again because I don't like it at all. But Kindred Spirits does that all the time. Like that's kind of like their main thing is that they do the Estes method like almost every episode.
which I guess
But
is a
then,
thing, but it's not
right?
their thing. They just picked it up from someone else. But yeah,
Well, I didn't mean to say think that like they were the ones that invented it. They didn't. They just use it every episode. Obviously, to make their point that there's activity in the house more poignant. Um,
of course, you could have just been with the practical Joker ghosts. When you're asking a question, they'll just be like four,
mhm, you can, yeah,
and to just say something wrong to be to throw it out. But
yeah. Um, but even they say like you need to listen to a lot of it, and they do. Obviously, they've been doing it for years as a job, so of course they're going to do it. I just it's one of those things where is it clipped? Because obviously they're in like two separate rooms, so it's not like there's one shot not cut. So Adam would ask the question, and they would show the camera on him only asking the question, and then it would be edited to go over to Amy, who's wearing the headphones
Headphones.
and stuff, and then she would answer the question. So I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, does she say yes like 5 minutes after the very first question is asked, and it's edited in to look like she's answering the question? I don't know. I
I would hope not, but yeah, I was gonna say, I know there are some questionable things that some shows do.
Yes. Um. So yeah, I don't know. All I know is that the one time that I've done it, uh, and another one of my investigators did it also, we got garbage. Um, I'm not. I've listened to a lot of Spirit Box in my time, and
And
but even I'm just like, hey, whatever. But again, this next investigation, I'm going to bring back the Estes method, and see what we get. Um,
personally, I would much prefer just the EVP. I don't know. I
oh,
not
oh,
a
me too. 100%. Um, I got uh, I got interviewed this past week, by a PhD candidate who's doing research, at the U of M on technology and communication and how that's used during paranormal investigations. That's what her dissertation is on. And one of her questions was about equipment that I like and don't like. And so of course, I'm like, I don't like the spirit box, and this is why. But like the spirit box, I think even the Estes method has its own place. Like I get the premise behind it, and I can agree with it. It obviously makes it far more compelling when you're the one involved in it, and you can see
person.
that this answer matches the question.
And of course, it probably helps that where they first started that was at the Stanley. So, I mean, one of the big haunted places that one of the biggest haunted places you can go. So,
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is the spirit box isn't limited to that
to where
location.
you are, yeah,
Yeah.
it can
That's
pick
one of
up
the things that
wherever.
exactly. I mean, if you asked Amy and Adam, like they'll they will be someplace on the East Coast, and they say all the time they get the same spirit from the Stanley Hotel coming through to talk to them, which I think is amazing. Don't get me wrong. I would love to be, at Edinburgh Manor, and all of a sudden William Leduc comes through the spirit box, to say hello. Not that he would, but I'm saying it would be amazing for that to happen. Uh, I await that experience. I doubt it will ever happen, but it if it works, it's not that big of a deal. Or I should say, it's not that big. If it works, that helps. But if you do the Estes method in the middle of your investigation, if you get dick, well, then you just wasted 15 minutes on nothing.
Yeah,
Um, so I don't know. It's a give and take, but it's an experiment nonetheless that I would like to try and see if we can get it to work at some point in time.
I think
Um,
that's going to be. I really think that stuff like the Ganzfeld and the Estes, there's going to be location specific to where you're going to get something or you're not, because you're going to have something that's willing to interact and besides know what you're trying to do, willing to actually take its time to do whatever and respond back to you.
um, I will say that, and this is an interesting experiment. This isn't a psychological experiment or anything like that. Uh, Derek, who I mentioned before, uh, absolutely rivals me in technology, like passion, and should probably even surpasses me. And that's not hard. That's not easy for me to say. But we're also going to do an experiment, and this is for any team that can do this. But he's created a carton or what I think it's like a glass bowl with a top over the top. Uh, but to the top, he's got some wires hanging down that he can slip a recorder in, so it's hanging down in the middle of this carton. And then he's rigged it so he can suck all the air out. So he's a completely air pressurized. There's no air in this thing, and we're going to see uh, if we can get EVP still, because obviously it's a lot harder for noise and air, to be able to go through air. The fact that there's no air there, I should say.
Has he done the mirror box yet?
Oh, the Devil's Toy Box?
Yeah.
No, he wants to though. Him and I were talking about it for a bit, because he built something. He built a like a big case, um, that you can put all kinds of like K2s and EMF meters and stuff all over it, and inside. And I that was my question. I'm like, why don't you just build like the Devil's Toy Box? And I think he had an issue on how to build it or something along those lines. But he's right there.
Okay.
like he's right there besides all of us. Besides you, me, and him, I should say. But yeah, so we got a lot of experiments that we want to try and do, and I'm obviously not going to bring them out for the first time during a private client
Oh yeah.
investigation, because that's just a waste of time. That's not why we're there. This is at a kind of a historic location, a theater. I've been there before. I know there's activity there. I've gotten lots of it, lots of EVPs and evidence there. Um, so I think it's a good place to do it. Plus, the
I'm in.
PhD candidate is joining us, so she'll be
Oh,
able to see
awesome.
how it works.
Uh, Hope y'all test out the little holders for the dowsing rods too. Curious to see if that how that
I,
works.
I told him if he can get it built. He's got a 3D printer of his own, so it's like designing it and getting it made is the only issue. Um, so I want to do that too. I told him if we can get that done, I'd like to do that experiment as well. Um, so lots lots to do, lots to learn, uh, lots to see if these people from the '70s can had their shit in order, because we're about to put a new age spin on it. um, but yeah,
Is he
I don't know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say is he mess with the spectrum analyzer at all or no?
No, I don't know if he has one. He knows I have one,
Ah.
but thank you, because I completely forgot about it. Haven't. I mean, obviously the investigation is a month away, but totally will forget about it.
I'll remind you more.
Thank you, because what I'll do is when you remind me like a week prior, or whatever, I will literally go out to the trailer, take it out of the cabinet, and like put it on the counter, so it's like right there, so I can't forget it. Uh, but otherwise, it's just going to sit in the closet or sit in the cabinet. But unless you have anything else, I think that does it for us.
No, that's pretty much covered all those little things.
Excellent. Just want to reiterate again, we got best-selling author uh, Michael D. Selig. Believe that, like I said, I believe that's how that's
So
last name
yeah.
is. Um, Author of the book Hush, and he will be coming on here to talk about everything alien. And I have a feeling that by the end of that interview, I'm going to owe Cena a lot of apologies. So get ready for that. But we'll be back here next week. Oh, one more thing, forgot to mention, it is going to be at a new time. He's
Oh,
busy Sunday
geez, yeah.
morning, so we will actually be on at 2 in the afternoon Central Time for that. So completely spaced. The fact that we're not moving to that time, that's just when it fits in his schedule. So
Special
we'll
episode.
special time, special guest. we can be the Super Bowl pregame show for you. So there you go, everybody.
Instead of the Puppy Bowl or whatever that thing is that happens before.
Well, the Puppy Bowl happens before, during, and I think probably after. I mean, they just film it for like 2 hours, and then they just keep replaying the same
Okay.
2 hours over and over and over again. So
Okay, I've never
all right.
watched it, so
You should. It's amazing. You want to adopt all of them. Just it's not even
cat videos and dog videos. No,
it's not even fair how cute these puppies are. So anyway, we're doing the Minnesota goodbye. So let's not. So Anthony and I will be back next week with another brand new episode. Till then, stay healthy, stay safe. Want to see you back. Until next time.